Hello, hello. Welcome once again to another edition of Quoth the Raven, Little Sprite Raven. I'm your host, Little Sprite Raven, 33-year veteran of comic science fiction, fantasy, horror, and role-playing games. It's Thursday. That means it's review night. We usually do a number of comic reviews with myself and the review crew, Chris Hall and John Norris. John is en route back to the house to get online, so he'll get here when he gets here. But for starters, we kind of had a rough week this week. And so I'm going to let my co-host come in and talk about it.
Hello, hello, hello. How you doing?
Oh, should we get the good news before the bad news?
I think we should.
Okay, the good news is, as I've talked about on the show, my father's not been in the best of health. He had a PET scan today to see about we don't know still what it is exactly. They did a PET scan and something that's in his lung, but it is not. They do not think it's malignant, is what they're saying. So chances are it's not. If it is cancer, it's benign, and they're not. If it is benign, they're not going to do any. I don't think they're going to do any operations to try and remove it because he's 82 years old as it is.
Right. That's fantastic news.
So that's what we knew today. We'll wait and see if there's any more news, but that's the good news.
Any plan on a biopsy at all, or no?
I don't know if they actually did a biopsy or if they just did the PET scan. I'll have to wait and see because he didn't mention anything about a biopsy to me.
Oh, he'd know.
So I would imagine that unless the lung doctor really wants to know what it is, that no, we're probably not going to do that. And of course, the Midnight Monster is here. Come on.
The Midnight Monster.
Come on, big boy. Oh, I know, big baby. I know.
Everybody welcome the Midnight Monster.
Some beer. Okay, now that we have almost full crew, right?
Almost.
Everybody wants to see him into the John, right? I'm kidding, John. Anyway, however, we did have a kind of a weird week this week, didn't we, Chris?
A little bit, yes. Bizarre.
We were looking for comics that we were planning on reviewing, and we have certain places we go online to look. Whether you want to call it pirating or whatever, we usually pay for our downloads when we can find them, but that's kind of the problem. And I'm going to go ahead and move you to the front and let you take over.
Oh my! All right. So I was supposed to review 4 different comics this week, right? And I was only able to do 2 because for some reason, and I don't know why this is, you cannot find digital downloads of comics easily. Like the main title, stuff like that, you can find them. But the more obscure stuff, like the more like indie-ish titles, it's damn near impossible to find. And that is so frustrating. Like, why is that? There should be a site where you can go and you can get all of your comics in one place, easily digitally downloaded for a reasonable price. Why is that not happening? And if you're out there and watching this, get on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why do you think that is the case, though?
I'm not sure. I know they're probably trying to push physical copies.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine.
That's part of it.
But for, someone like me who, like, when I buy a physical book, it's a graphic novel or a trade paperback. Like, I don't have a lot of space for, like, a ton of comics.
Well, so it's not just that for you. I mean, you don't have a comic shop per se within 150 miles.
I have a shop, but it's more of a pop culture shop, and it does have comics, of course, a lot of comics, but they're like your mainstream
Yeah,
titles,
they're
you know.
they don't get the indies and the esoteric stuff that we tend to review.
Exactly. Yes.
That's not,
So,
when I say a comic shop, I mean a full-fledged. We carry everything,
right.
or at
So,
least try to.
what is a
And
reviewer supposed to do?
yeah, and we go far and wide, all over the place looking for stuff. We tried Hoopla for the library. We tried library app, Libby, different things that just could not at all find the books that he was supposed to be trying to review.
Right.
And they've been out for 2 months.
We spent like 20 minutes trying to do this.
Well, no, I spent a lot longer than that. But
Well, yeah, but like both of us like spent like 20 minutes trying to find like one book.
mhm, yeah,
Couldn't
we,
do
we,
it.
we went through like what, 14 different sites in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, what's going on? And I don't. Should we name the titles?
I mean, we can, sure. It was it a Slasher's Apprentice?
The last
No,
one
it
we got.
was which one was it?
Hold on.
Oh, it was Dark Regards.
Yeah, Dark Regards from Oni
Yes.
Press was one of them. And what was the other one?
We found Buried long ago.
Yeah, we did find Buried long ago. And you had Slasher's Apprentice, which we'll be reviewing both of those tonight.
Right.
Um, you hadn't gotten Toxic Avenger from Ahoy, #1. You found it afterwards, and we were going to do that next week.
Right. Yep.
Okay, so those were the two that we were having a problem getting a hold of, and there was also another one that's not on this list. Let me go see what's on 24. What's in 24 real quick. Nope. Nope. Okay. Just checking to see. All right. I got next week's books up on in my folders. That's what I'm trying to find.
But the short of the story is we searched long and hard and wide for Dark Regards.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great little tale. It really is.
Yeah, he did. He reread issue #1, thinking he hadn't read any of them. We had reviewed #1 a few months back, but we hadn't gotten #2 and #3, and it was because they haven't been posted online anywhere apparently.
Right.
And we just don't understand why. And this is not the first time this has happened. There are several titles like Vanishing Point, which is from Mad Cave. #3 comes out next week. I didn't know #2 ever came out. I missed it, so I'm going to have to see what I can do to get that one. Because I ordered #1 and we reviewed that a while back. Just that sort of thing. And then people want to know why I always buy my stuff online direct from the creators. This is why.
Right.
Because it's not just indicative of digital, it's indicative of print too. But with print, you got to remember there's two or three steps in between. It's, does the distributor want to carry it? Does a retailer want to carry it? Do they want to market it if they are carrying it so that it's there? Whereas when you put a comic book up for download, we're not against paying for it, okay? And Chris would like to have it as long as he can, as long as it stays stable, and he's not going to lose his access to it once he pays for it, because we've had that issue with digital download. I think that's another reason why they don't do it as much. But it's a lot easier for him to carry his comics on his computer.
Right.
And so that's what he prefers to do. And I don't blame him for that. Um, it kind of does go sort of in the face of what traditional collecting is, I guess. Maybe because I guess people think, well, a digital doesn't have a resale value, I guess you could say.
Right.
But you're not in it for that purpose.
I'm not in it for the collector's market at all. No, I'm in it to read it and review it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I personally don't have time to like go through comics, like to go through a stack of comics and find the one that I want and then read it. And, it's like I need quick access. So, publishers like, look, we want your books. We're going to pay for your books. Give us your books and we will give you money for them. Here, take our money.
Or it's like people like Antarctic and other companies do send us PDFs for review freehand, so we do review those as well. So, if you want, just promotion,
Right?
do that. But what we're saying is, the only reason we ever have to go pirate something is because we have no other choice to get the book. And this is something that was mentioned on Purchase Show earlier this week. He ranted about how piracy is hurting the retailers. And I'm like, well, how's it hurting the retailer if I can't get the damn book anyway?
Right.
So.
And I don't like that word. I prefer, I don't like the word pirating. I prefer gently borrowed.
Yeah.
Gently borrowed.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. I mean, well, the thing is, when we do these, we anything that we have to get that way, we almost always review them so that someone else sees it. Maybe they can go get it and buy it, and at least it's bought somewhere. If we can't, right. But and even if it's something we really like, then we do fight to get the trades when they're available. But as you all know, a lot of the indie stuff doesn't get collected in trades because there's a lack of sales. So,
right.
We try to figure out some solution there. So that is Chris's frustration this week. And he's being very polite because earlier
I tried talking Lewis. I'm like, this is something you should focus on. We should like create the site.
Yeah, he always wants me to say comics. He has all the answers. He knows everything. He'll fix it.
Save us, Lewis. You're our only hope. Oh, save us, Louis-1 Kenobi.
Oh, Lord. That's bad. That is bad. Oh, but yeah, so we will try to get to Dark Regards as soon as we can, as soon as we can get some access for Chris, because it was his pick, and I mean, I've even had to buy books down here and mail them to him before.
Yes.
So it's just that kind of situation. But we'll try to get that done. If you happen to be from Oni and you happen to catch word into this, send us a PDF if you want. Just a review PDF. We don't care. It's not. We just want to be able to review stuff and promote comics.
Or send us one to buy it. I'll buy it.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go for number 2 and number 3 of that one. So anyway, I guess it's time to start reviews, isn't it?
I guess so. We need a review animation, like a review screen we can put up for animation.
I don't know. We'll think about it.
This thing is really irritating me.
What? Oh, your camera? Yeah.
This camera, yeah. There we go. I think I got it now. Keeps going.
Yeah. All right. Our first book of the night is Benjamin, number 2 of 3, $5.99. Publisher Oni Press. Writer is Ben H. Winters. Art is Leomax, colors by Luca Bertelle. Cover
It's
is
not showing on the screen. There we go.
well, I was reading off the screen. I was like, huh? What do you mean it's not showing? It just took you, I guess you had a little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
But anyway, colors by Luca Bertelli, covers by Christian Ward Schoen, which I really do like that cover. And there's another one by Malachi Ward, no relation. The Ring by Becca Carey, editor Sierra Hahn and Azat Sayadi, production by Sarah Rockwell. Genre science fiction, age rating mature, released July 16th, 2025. What it's about: legendary science fiction novelist Benjamin J. Karp has just been resurrected 40 years after his death, and that's not even the strangest thing that's going to happen to him today. In an effort to unravel the mystery of author Benjamin J. Karp's unexpected reappearance, Benjamin and his newfound companion Marcus travel to the arid Joshua Tree Desert, wherein they discover the secret lair of a cabal of scientists eager to revive the minds of some of history's greatest thinkers in an effort to save humanity from its greatest weakness, a lack of imagination. Well, that's for damn sure in this industry right now, isn't it? Are they to be believed, or is this just more sci-fi hokum torn from a chapter of one of Karp's beloved novels? Edgar Award nominee and Philip K. Dick Award-winning novelist Ben H. Winters, who's written for Oni's EC's Cruel Universe and the Last Policeman trilogy as his prose fiction, teams with rising star Leah Max, EC's Epitaphs from the Abyss, and Basket Full of Heads to recite the next haunting chapter of 2025's mesmerizing science fiction daydream with profound implications for the fate of the universe, as delivered in a prestige ad-free format. What did I think? Okay. This issue really burns through the concept of the story at a breakneck pace, as Winters is doing his best Grant Morrison imitation with alternate reality shtick, and it hits several tropes that Morrison did with Animal Man and Doom Patrol, which could have been cool if this was all done as part of the first issue instead of this issue. Doing it in media res in the second issue, especially if you're only going to have 3 issues, kind of messes up with the pacing of the plot, in my opinion. I do wish Winters had stuck more with the traditional science fiction inspirations rather than writing from the hip of an overhyped writer like Morrison. And I think the pacing would have been better if he was really writing this as a comics novel and not as a miniseries. The art is solid, the premise was excellent, and this issue is definitely an improvement over the first issue. I will say that. But if there's only going to be 3 issues, and we've gotten to where we've gotten at the conclusion of the second issue, it's going to be very difficult to wrap it up, I think, and really give a complete tale. So it'll be interesting to see how he tries to hit the landing in next issue. Issue 1, I only gave a 2.5. This one, I'm going to give a 3.
There you go.
And, it's a good book as far as the art. Again, I really do like the cover with the different, with Marcus and looking in, and then there's Benjamin in the middle of the ocean there, sort of on different planes of the paintings there. It looks kind of neat. But that's kind of stuff that Christian Ward likes to do anyway. And the art's, respectable.
Yeah, looks good.
The scientist is like, I'm going to let you be Uncle Sam into the future. And that's when he's looking into the painting, and he kind of like drops in, science, and he realizes that all of this is all virtual realities of sorts. It's kind of like the gimmick. And he's like, well, what's real, what's not? Grant Lankard's in the house. Hey,
Grant.
Congratulations on getting your League of Cryptids number 3 funded. You never did answer my question. Did you need me to send? You paid me the money for the original art for that poster, and I never got a word back without where to mail that to for the original art to you. So let me know where you want me to send that. Okay. let's see. I'm going to pull that out real quick here. Um, there's some interesting stuff going on here. I mean, like they were trying to build Isaac Asimov's and different, scientists and big thinkers, shall we say, as clones.
Oh, they're trying to clone all these science fiction writers.
Yeah.
Trying to clone science fiction writers. That sounds like a Philip K. Dick move.
Yes. Well, there you go.
It's not just a dick move, it's a Philip K. Dick move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, that was Benjamin.
And yes, Grant, you get the original art.
Yep, that was the deal, dude. I was like, that's why I was like, waiting to know where to mail it to. But anyway, we're waiting on John to get here so he can do his reviews. So I have to skip past his review section, which is quite a few pages here.
Where, oh, where has my good friend gone? Oh, where can he be?
He's stuck in traffic.
He's stuck in his car on the highway.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna address this with you not making good lyrics. Because I know you can do good lyrics. Anyway, all right. Next one, Blood and Thunder #3, $4.99. Publisher Image Comics Skybound. Writer Robert Kirkman with Benito Cerrino. Artist E.J. Sue. Lettering by Russ Wooten. Colorist is Michelle Asura-Sikorn, so known as Misasek. Coverage by Sue Masakic. David Lopez, Annie Tong. I think it's still Rex Locus for this issue, and Bernard Chang. Editor is Nachi Marsham. Genre is science fiction superhero. Released July 16th, 2025. What it's about. It's a very motivated Blood and a very reluctant Thunder, her power gun, versus a very angry prisoner from Cell Block X. What could go wrong? Hint, everything. As Prisoner X makes his way through levels of the cell blocks and into society, Blood is forced to persevere to attempt to stop the monster from destroying innocent people and tearing down the city of Metro 1. And Akodama, that's Blood, is hot on his trail and even has a drop on him. But when Prisoner X finally turns his attention to her, he lets her know that he knows she's not human and just lets her be. Even though she thinks this is odd and should just count her blessings that the monster has let her be, she can't because she has to stop him from killing everybody else, so she continues to chase the prisoner through the levels. The chase continues through multiple levels of Metro 1, and the Prisoner X leaves nothing but carnage in his wake. The whole time, Blood and Thunder are in hot pursuit. Just as Akodama thinks she has a chance to get him, he gets away and leaves Metro 1. Knowing that this means bad news for whoever he's going to go after next, they leave the city in hot pursuit themselves. How does he know that she's not human? And why does that even matter? Should it just kill Blood and Thunder and just be done with it? Or is there something more going on? This is another in media res issue that gives you a long book chase throughout the Metro 1 complex, but the pacing of the story, despite all the action, there's just no real plot going on. The whole issue could have taken place in maybe 5 or 10 minutes of screen time in a movie, if that. So the whole issue to me is just filler. It's nice to look at, and that's cool. But for crying out loud, get the hell on with the story. These aren't cheap at $5. Give me a story.
Right.
I gave number 1 and number 2 3.5. I gave this one a 3 because nothing happened. Basically. Great cover.
Yeah, it's very pretty to look at.
And then here are the variants. I mean, it's like, yeah, okay, I'm leaping across something. I'm going to shoot my big gun at you, and I'm going to fall through the cityscape with my big gun. I don't know. The art. I like the art.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
You know, um, I've always liked DJ stuff, but I mean, it's cool to look at. I mean,
Yeah, 100% professionally done. It's just really nice.
yeah, but you got to tell a story. You know, it,
See, now I differ from you because I could enjoy the book just for the art.
well, I can enjoy a book just for art, Chris. It's just if I'm going to enjoy a book for just the art, I need a little more page count than 22 to 24 pages. I think, unless you've got something like just, I mean, so damn exquisite, like a Jeff Darrow or something. Yeah, that's really hyper detailed. That takes you hours and hours to pour over everything and look at it. Then yes,
Right.
but that's usually not what you get in comics today. Yeah, but yeah, it is what it is. Okay, here's one of yours.
Alrighty. This is Buried Long, Long Ago, number 2 and 3. It's $4.99. Published from Mad Cave Studios. Writer Anthony Cleveland. Artist Alex Cormack. Letterer Justin Birch. Covers by Alex Cormack. Editors James B. Amet and Ryan Carroll. Genre historical supernatural horror. Released June 4th, July 9th, 2025. This is this is based on true events from 1901 to 1908. Belle Gunness lured dozens of lonely men to her Indiana farm and savagely murdered them for their money. Because Belle managed to avoid capture and face trial, much of the story remains untold until now. This is like a Grimm's fairy tale retelling of her brutal crimes from the perspective of her 3 young children, who soon discover there is something far worse and more evil than their mother on the farm, something buried long, long ago. With Belle's husband dead and buried after the events of issue 1, a farmhand cons his way into her good graces, and she is all too eager to welcome her next victim in, as long as he has cash at hand. Meanwhile, Hattie and Riley seek out the horrific creatures seen in the hog pit, while Jess begins to fall for a young farmhand. Riley and Hattie begin to learn more of their new home's dark past, while Belle begins to see Jess as a loose end that could unravel the lucrative murder farm scheme that grows deadlier with each new man Belle welcomes in. And you don't want to mess with some woman's lucrative murder farm scheme.
Oh,
No, do not screw with that. So there wasn't a whole lot of story going on in this one, in these issues. Belle lures another guy in with money. Jesse falls for a farmhand whose name I honestly can't even remember. Pretty dull. The baby monster part was cool, but it doesn't really carry the whole of the story. What it does have to do, or what does it really have to do with the acts of Belle? And then at the end of the 3rd issue, spoiler, we lose the most interesting character in the story, Jess. And it sort of has to do with the candle-eyed woman having a crown like a queen on the pile of the baby monsters. Yes, it was bizarre. My kind of weird, kind of weird, kind of meh. I have pretty much lost interest in this. Not my circus, not my cup of blood and guts. I give this a 3 out of 5 stars.
and he had given it 4 for number 1.
Yes.
So,
So yes, definitely just kind of downhill.
yeah, and I didn't. I perused it a little bit, but I just wasn't interested, so I didn't read it enough to review. Sorry about that, Chris.
No, it's okay.
All right. Okay, our next one, as we're waiting for John to get here, is Impossible Jones, Impossible to Love one shot for $22. And of course, this is a crowdfunded series. Publisher Panic Button Press, writer Carl Kiesel, pencilers are David Hahn and Tina Valentino, Inkers are Gisel and Valentino. Colors by Ryan Cody, Mauricio Luis, and Valentina Pinto. Lettering by Richard Starkings, Comic Crafts Tyler Smith, and Jimmy Betancourt. Genre is superhero, released June 8th, 2025. What it's about. In this collection, there are 3 stories. In the main story, our intrepid thief pretending to be a hero gets entangled with a wanted man, Demolition, whose atomic hands can blow up anything with a touch, as he seems to be trying to possibly go straight. But the police, especially Detective Brightraven, and that is it's not me. It's my cousin from that universe. Want Demolition brought in by any means necessary. Demo has his own agenda as well. Can Impy navigate the rocky and treacherous waters of love, and at what cost? In the Even Stevens story, our intrepid reporter who's been investigating the hero for all these issues finally meets him in the flesh. It turns out that even he doesn't know how he came to be, so she strikes a deal with him to try to find the answers to his origins while he assists her on crime cases. It seems like a win-win. Well, who knows for sure? And unfortunately, I did not make it to the last story, Girls and Horses, in time to write the review for that one, so I can't tell you what it's about. I was scrambling to get everything under deadline here. But I will say that I enjoyed both of the stories that I did get to read. I mostly because of what was going on with my father today. I haven't taken him to the doctor. I just didn't have time. But I apologize, Carl. I will get to reading that for you and let you know what I think. David Hahn's art is great stuff, and I really do need to review another of his books, creator-owned series called The Dusk. And I will get that as soon as I can find my copy of it. Anyway, Imp actually gets blown to bits, literally, like a whole section of her torso is gone and she's bleeding out. It's gruesome. And it's weird how her body eventually heals. The interaction between Imp and Demo was well played. Love the interaction between Detective Brightraven and Imp as well. The end scenes of the story were exceptional and foreboding as to what may come next. As for the Even Stevens story, well, that was sort of a letdown. I mean, I get it. You don't want any of the other writers' versions to be the real origin of the character. But I don't know. It just feels like if you want me to follow the character, the stories have to matter. And if he doesn't know his own origins either, do any of the stories matter? Just make them up, right?
Right.
I don't know. It's interesting. But it was still, I mean, it was well executed and everything. There's nothing wrong with it. And it does move the character moving forward. And then I did look at the Girls and Horses story at a quick glance, and it does look like it's well crafted. I just didn't have a chance to really focus and read on it.
And it's such a scintillating title.
What's that?
Girls and Horses.
Yes. So,
just screams, read me.
So let's take a look at some of that art real quick. I do need to add a different page, share a different screen. This is some of the art.
And this art is just pure eye candy. It really is.
Yeah.
I love this style.
Yes. This is David Hahn's. And that's an AMX Javelin that's being driven by the criminal who has stolen the car. Clown car. 401 cubic inches, baby.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And then here's Impy coming after him. And she turns herself into a
like a drag chute.
Yeah, drag chute. Deploying Imp chute. And he can't drive and shoot at the same time. So what he does is he does the other thing. He honks his nose and makes a clone of himself.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep. I love that.
Yep. And so the other one starts shooting at her. Now look at this. Shot her with the world's largest caliber handgun with recoil negation So it sends like this giant bullet through her, and everybody thinks it's okay. It ain't okay.
Oh.
And she's like, how am I still alive? How am I even standing? Oh, nothing. That'll be fine. And of course, here comes Demolition. He blows them up for doing that. And she's running while losing blood. And that's how he gets introduced.
Looks like love at first sight.
Yep. So it's like, yeah, that was a wild opening. And the artwork is just gorgeous. So. Whoop, not that close. We don't need to look up Chris's nose.
No. No, I don't know what's going on up there.
Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. But yeah, love that stuff. Give it a 4.5.
Good stuff.
All right. We're still
Speaking of noses, why was the nose dancing?
Go ahead.
Because it had a little boogie in it.
Wah, wah, wah. Where is that button to drop you down?
Or like the Graham Norton show, like the red chair just.
Yeah. But anyway. Oh. But even the cat didn't like that. Anyway, our next book.
Cat's like, I can tell a better joke than that.
is Settled, original graphic novel from 1995. Creator, publisher Jason Horn. Genre science fiction. Rating Teen Plus. Released July 3rd, 2025. What it's about. Malone has buried his violent past in the quiet, methodical work of overseeing robots tasked with establishing deep space settlements, colonies. His team of robotic farmers outfitted with holographic skins, and that's what you see is that blue skin type thing. That's a hologram. He actually looks like the robot underneath on the cover there. Mimic the human settlers who will one day replace them and come to live in these settlements. Once a colony is self-sustaining, Malone and his crew move on to build the next site. But as Malone gets older and nears retirement, a new overseer, Prim, which is the female that you see in the bottom right, arrives to replace him. And as a rookie, by the book operator, she sees things that the robots are doing and saying that aren't quite right. And robots desire to be something more than just the parameters of their programming. But if they don't do their task, won't the company just end them? Cue the conflict. This is a very solid story in the vein of a Western cyberpunk story with some Philip K. Dick thrown in. Horn's art is influenced by the likes of Jeff Darrow and Mobius, and while he's not quite at that level of craftsmanship, he is certainly doing a respectable level of quality work. The plot is pretty straightforward and predictable, and the characters are a smidge limited because of the plot and the suit of the plot, because everything they do has to suit the plot of the story. I would have liked to seen them have a little more uniqueness and charm out of Malone and Prim, but to give him credit, his characters are written well enough that I was not subconsciously comparing them to other characters from other similar stories, which, as you know, is something that bothers me all the time, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Horn's art is nice. As I said, influenced by Darrow and Mobius styles. As an inker, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more use of differences of line weight, but the overall finished product is clean, pretty solid, and demonstrates above average storytelling skills to what I'm typically seeing in mainstream comics these days. So, and what he does with his art is in service to the story and not story in service to the art. which is the way to do things. So I'm generally pleased with this book. I also give it a 4 out of 5. And let me go ahead and open this bad boy up.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. This book sounds boring as all hell. Am I wrong?
No, not entirely, but I guess for you and what you like, I think you might be bored with it. But it's hard for me to say. I mean, well, hold on, let me go over here. There we go. Art's nice.
Yeah, the art is very nice.
I mean, it gets interesting at the end. So let me go back to the end here. I want to get to the point where he's confronting. Okay. You can see all these figures are kind of just standing around, pointing guns at each other at this point, but they're trying to negotiate. It's like, hey, you don't need to be here. There's no reason for you to come like destroy the whole settlement. And he's like, I beg to differ. And when he puts the gun at the robot's head, the robot's wife, so shall we say, if I can get to it. Nice long shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what she does. Is she just starts taking shots at everybody there. And it just gets worse and worse as they start going into a full blood. And some of the art, I mean, you might think it's a little bit blasé, I guess, because he doesn't have quite the same camera angles or action like a Kirby or something like that. I guess you could say.
Right.
And
I really do miss that.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. I looked at it as he's not quite as skillful as Mobius or Darrow, because Darrow gives you that.
Right. I just wish I wish more indie artists would deviate from the standard like panel layouts.
Mm-hmm.
Like start trailing a little Steranko, man. I mean, come on. Do something a little exciting and creative with your panel layouts, not just like the standard 5-panel layout, medium shot, long shot, close.
Mm-hmm.
Get a little creative.
Okay, your turn.
All right, this is the Slasher's Apprentice number 3, $4.99 from publisher Mad Cave Studios. A writer is Justin Richards, artist is Val Halverson, color Rebecca Nalty, lettering Buddy Bedouin. Editor James B. Emmett. This is genre horror, released July 9th, 2025. What it's about. Riley takes center stage as the Hopton Valley killer agrees to let her plan their next killing spree. Will she make the cut? Or is it curtains for Riley's dream of murderous glory? And is the HVK really teaching Riley, or is she teaching him? Who's playing whom here? Who plays who? Who played you? I really enjoyed this issue. I particularly the interaction between Riley and the HVK. I love how their relationship is morphing into what appears to be like Riley is the mother figure, while he's just kind of like the child who does what she says, or so it appears. They always, I think it's very genius, like the shots that they do put of the killer, because it always makes you think, because he doesn't talk, right? So it's just a picture of his head, but it makes you think, like, what is he thinking? Like, is he like thinking, okay, I'm going to go along with this now, but I'll get you later? Like, so you're always in his head, wondering what he's thinking. I thought the magnetic writing device was kind of genius. The kills could have been a little bit more graphic for my taste, but then I'm a gorehound. And the scene where she reprimands him was so funny because, he could seemingly kill her at any time, yet he takes the scolding anyway. And I love the cliffhanger with the other killer showing up and, how are they going to deal with that? It's shaping up to be a really enjoyable series.
Meh.
Meh.
I'm just disinterested. I'm sorry, Chris. And here we are in third issue. It's taking too long for the story to develop. For me, moving along, get to the confrontation between Riley and HVK, because to me it's I don't want to say it's obvious, and maybe I'm just projecting, but to me, she was a survivor that he didn't know he left behind in one of his earlier killings, and that's why she's obsessed with him.
Which could be.
And so it's like, it's not good enough to just end him just for her sake when nobody even really remembers who he is. So let's make his ass famous again before we bring him to justice. That's just the way I'm thinking this whole thing is. And I could be wrong very easily. But that's how it's projecting to me. And it just seems to be dragging along. And I'm like, I'm actually hoping I'm completely wrong and they do something completely different that I'm not expecting that's actually interesting. But so far, I haven't seen it. Am I just projecting my expectations too much? I don't know, but I just can't get into it. And you give it a 4.
That's okay.
You give it a 4. I'll give it a 2. It makes it an average comic, a 3.
Right.
Hold on a second. My phone is. What's going on here?
But if you are a horror fan and this is your jam, there was a lot of little horror tropes and little nods and winks and stuff like that to, the horror genre in general. So I found it really enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. Just a second.
And it's almost along the lines. It's kind of along the lines of, Behind the Mask, Leslie Vernon.
Leslie Vernon. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Leslie Vernon, yeah, Behind the Mask.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you keep making a big deal about that movie.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. I'm going to be right back. I got to see where John is. I'm
okay. All right. So I guess it's just me. Anybody in the audience want to say hi? Anybody out there? Hello? Our host will be back shortly. He is going to see where our other co-host is. John is coming back from working on a musical. And he's kind of stuck in traffic right now. So we're trying to see where he is and get him on the show so he can review his books. All right.
He's having computer problems. That's what's going on.
Computer problems, yes. So he'll be on his phone.
It could be that a little bit. That's what he's trying to do. He's in the process of rebooting the computer again.
All right.
So at least we explained what's going on. I was like, geez, we're already a buddy, because, but while we're at it, we'll show some of the art for the Slasher's Apprentice here. Mm-hmm. And, he stays at a Chuck E. Cheese, apparently.
Basically a Chuck E. Cheese, yeah.
And I was like,
which further cements his, very childlike mind.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the giant purple kangaroo just looks silly to me. But, whatever, but the thing is, we've seen that kind of trope where horror films of this nature of the characters from this type of establishment business.
Right. Right.
It's like, so I was like, can't you do something a little bit different? And I think another reason why I don't really like HVK Killer is just like, I just don't like the cowardly lion mask. It just looks dorky, to me. I guess. I don't know.
Well, I'm assuming that there's going to be a good reason for that.
Yeah.
And,
And
I find it very unique, the whole idea of a slasher having an apprentice. I
mm-hmm,
like the idea of that. So I find that very refreshing.
mm-hmm.
And this is where she's like lecturing them and going, okay, this is what we need to do. We're going to do this, this, that, and the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. But we need to let one survive. And I know that's a touchy subject for you, but you need to trust me. We want word to spread, and nothing spreads information faster than a freshly traumatized teenager.
What if she is his daughter?
I think he'd know if he'd had kids.
But maybe he does know. We don't know. He doesn't talk.
Yeah, I don't know.
He doesn't talk. He doesn't emote much. He doesn't,
Right.
He's kind of like the big blunt, instrument.
Yeah. Weird. Okay, well that's one of John's. So we're just hoping that John. Ah, there he is. He's finally in.
Hey, John.
And you
How
look
are
like
you?
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah. So let's go back to the beginning of the list for you, John, and get the first book that you're supposed to be reviewing tonight.
All right. Biker Mice from Mars / RoboForce #1. Publisher Oni Press. Writers are Melissa Flores and Matt Hodson. Artists are Daniel Geet for Biker Mice and EJ Sue for RoboForce. Colorist are Alessandro Santoro for Biker Mice and Ren Spiller for RoboForce. Lettering, Ghostglyphs Taylor Esposito. Covers are Dustin Weaver with variants by Carl Kerschel, Justin Mason, Juan Jose Rip, Kano, and Simon Bisley. Editor Carl Bollers, designer Winston Gambro. Genre action adventure superhero. Release date June 25th, 2025. Rating teen. It is 40 pages. What is a rock and ride? The all-new ongoing series starts here with a 40-page bombshell. Hot on the heels, or in this case, wheels, of last year's breakout limited series from the Nacelle Company and Oni Press, the most radical animation icons to ever ride across the Elysium Plains, or aka the Biker Mice from Mars, are back and revving it up in their first ever ongoing series from the genre-bending imagination of writer Melissa Flores of Power Rangers Prime and powerhouse illustrator Daniel Geet of Skin Police. The Red Planet is in revolt, and hard-charging rebels Throttle, Vinny, and Moto are joining up with Mars's freedom fighters to fight the invading army of alien Plutarchian invaders. But when a raw, entirely unexpected threat to Mars rears its ugly head, threatening the existence of their families, friends, and the fourth planet itself, will the Biker Mice's war become a full-fledged apocalypse? Don't miss the adventures of everyone's favorite revolutionary rodent trio, coupled with the return of RoboForce and an all-new backup feature by writer Matt Hodson of Power Rangers The Return and artist EJ Sue of Transformers that will rock the foundations and set the stage for the future of the NacellVerse. So what I thought, perhaps it's because I've been so busy lately, but I somehow missed the announcement that the mice were returning, or as Raven says, he told me, but I probably just forgot, and apparently I did. Again, I've been busy. I'm working on two shows at once, in addition to my day job and church music job. So anyway, I digress.
I'm going to remind you, number 2 comes out next week.
Thank you.
So go ahead.
It was a very pleasant surprise to find this book in my folder at my comic shop. I really like where the series is going. Flores takes the bad mamma jammas from the original show, as they would call themselves, and gives them more depth while retaining their core personalities. The scenes with Throttle's mom and Moto's family are great, as we really get to see what the guys are fighting for. And the ROBOFORCE backup story is also solid. It takes place before episode 1 of the ROBOFORCE animated series, which I highly recommend, by the way. It's on Tubi. There's no filler. It gets right into the action with D-Note, now called Detonator the Cruel, and it nicely sets things up for the future of ROBOFORCE and the NacellVerse, and the action looks great thanks to Sue and Spiller, and I can't wait to read more of both of these stories.
What did I think? Well, I flipped through this in the store just to get a sense of the issue because I knew John would be getting it, and I try to read what my co-hosts are reading so that we can bounce off each other and respond. If I'd been a fan of the animated series back in the 90s, I would be very happy with what has been done with the comic series so far. It's hard for me to really tell how well the characters have been adhered to compared to the show, because that show came out in a period where I didn't even have television, let alone watched anything. I was too busy in college and making my own comics at that time as it was. So I did not watch cartoons back then. Overall, I do think the product is solid, breaking solely from a cursory glance. Speaking solely from a cursory glance at the book, I thought the Rip, which was or Weep, which was the cover you just saw, and the Bisley cover, which is the one you're looking at now, were the ones that will arguably sell the best, particularly with Reeves being the first in the set 3-issue spread that's supposed to be matching, so you buy all 3 for the set. Though I do think the primary logo and the corner box should have been shrunk down and centered in that one so that the figures were not covering them up. You see what I'm saying about that? The back heads covering up.
Right.
So I would rather have seen that logo shrunk, and more that, if that was what we were going to do, just to keep it more consistent, I guess. From now, other than that, it's a really nice cover.
Or if the cover artist had, made more room for the logo.
Yeah, I just think the logo's built too big. I think there's more than enough space for it. But again, it's hard for me to tell because it's a triple set, so who knows how they actually did it. But anyway, This is the Bisley cover, and it looks like a Bisley cover.
Yep.
But Bisley is very popular, or at least he was at one time. And that kind of does have that 80s, 90s Ninja Turtles vibe going on, because Bisley was involved with Mirage at the time. So I kind of think if Bisley had been the regular cover artist instead of the variant, I think they would have sold a lot better. Am I mistaken to think that way, guys?
No, not at all. Bisley still sells like hotcakes.
Yeah. So John gave it a 4. I'll give it a 3.5. And let's take a look at some of the art. This is the flip cover for the ROBOFORCE side of the story. And again, this is E.J. Sue art. And we just looked at a whole book by E.J. Sue, Blood and Thunder, so you can see the similarity there. Now, this is art from Daniel Yeat with Alessandro Santoro for color. Part of the reason I only give it a 3.5 is the mice. They should have their noses out a little bit more because mice have their noses out like snouts, and really only the middle guy has that.
Little not anthropomorphic, or a little too much anthropomorphic for you.
No. If I just would like to see it a little more realism to the mice, anatomy, just
Right.
a little bit, not much. Like I said, like the middle head is perfect, and I don't mind the other guy with the glasses, but like the white one, is that Vinny?
Yes.
Yeah, he looks like his face is smashed in. Doesn't he? Yeah, so I was like,
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look terrible. I just think it would have looked a little bit better. That's all. And then this is the art by E.J. Su and Ren Spiller.
Yeah, I like E.J. Su.
Yeah. You should probably be reading Blood and Thunder then, because that's E.J.'s art too.
And there's the familiar butta of the machine gun. Gotta love that.
Yep.
That's a classic onomatopoeia.
Mm-hmm. There's the Blood and Thunder.
And that first cover almost looks like Kathy Griffin posed for it.
What was that again?
That first cover almost looks like Kathy Griffin posed for it.
It's weird because the way they do her hair is like it's bald except for this one weird red flowing mohawk type thing.
Right? Yeah, that's what Kathy Griffin looks like now.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't watch TV that much, as you know.
Well, trust me, that's what she looks like.
So, come on.
Good stuff, anyway.
Yeah. I'm trying to get to your. It doesn't want to do it that way, so I'll just have to do it the other way. And of course, John's other book this week is Turtles.
Yes, TMNT Saturday Morning Adventures number 26, publisher IDW Publishing, writer Eric Burnham, artist Dan Schoening, colorist Luis Antonio Delgado, lettering Ed Dukeshire, cover artist is Schoening and Delgado with a variant cover by Boxer Bun. First time I've heard that name. Editor is Thea Chuck. Genre superhero action adventure comedy. Release date June 25th, 2025. Rating all ages. What it's about. The ninja who goes by the name of Lotus Blossom has been blackmailed into stealing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles portable interdimensional portal for Krang and his evil cohorts, which would allow them to free not just Shredder, but also the intergalactic criminal syndicate called the Pantheon from their dimensional prisons. Don't worry, kids. The Turtles have a plan to keep the portal from benefiting the bad guys, but first they'll have to deal with the rampaging mutants Taka and Razor. So, another solid issue, picking up where the previous one left off. With Lotus Blossom having entered the Turtles' lair and knocked them out with gas in order to steal their portal. Splinter has a wonderful moment here. The page, which we'll show in a second probably, the page where he ties up Lotus and then talks to her to find out what's happening. They pay homage to Ross Andru, and it's probably one of my favorite pages in the series so far. And it just, to me, it shows that Burnham and Schoening really understand the character. You know, he's caring, but also not to be messed with. And I gotta say, I love Taka and Razor in this series. Certainly much more so than in The Secret of the Ooze. Just the fact that they both speak intelligibly and intelligently in Razor's case just makes them funnier for me.
Okay, something about Schoening's art style has really bothered me. So I did a little research into him and his background. And what I learned was that he's more from the animation background than comics per se, and his work process is very animation based. He draws the figures and backgrounds separately, figures in color erase blue line pencils, then scans them in the Photoshop and digitally finishes the line art, rendering digitally before handing it off to the colorist Delgado. So he's working from both a traditional and digital composition process that he learned in animation school. Once I understood that this was his working process, I understand how and why he comes up with some of the layouts and background compositions that he does, and why it bothers me. Because sometimes they're not complete for me, and sometimes because you do the animation a certain way, you would cut an image off for the cell, but you don't in the comic, so it makes the figure look a little bit weird. And I'll give an example in the artwork when we look at it in a few minutes. But you kind of have to drop out details, particularly background, in order for the art to work in animation. Because me being a detailist by nature, as an artist, I'm always looking for a word. I see that drop out, and I'm like, wait a minute, that should be there. But understanding now that how he does his work, I can put myself in his mindset as an artist. And even if I don't agree with his choices, I can at least appreciate why he's doing it the way he's doing it. I do think the Ross Andru homage page was extremely well done, and I appreciate the shout out to him because so many artists today have no real awareness or appreciation for Silver and early Bronze Age era artwork. They're strictly caught up in the postmodern imitative age of, as I call it, image is imitative era of comics. So I hope that readers will see the name Andru, because it actually says right on the page after Ross Andru, and ask people about him and learn about Ross Andru, because he's certainly a named talent who's been sort of lost to the younger fandom, who have simply not been exposed to the more classical artists of the 60s to 1980s. And so in a way, Schoenberg gives you your kids a little homework assignment with your comic. And I can dig that. Now, this Boxer Bun cover sucks.
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like I'm looking at a weird wannabe 70s Dayglow poster attempt by someone who didn't understand the process. You want that style, you go hire Jake Smith of Blood Force Trauma and RoboWolf fame. The figure work is terrible. The artist has Leonardo holding one katana incorrectly with the razor's edge facing inward towards himself instead of outwards. That's the one that's in the immediate foreground with his hand at the bottom of the page. You can see where the sword's edge is facing into his chest. That's not how you hold a katana. And an editor should know to correct that, not accept it. In my opinion, it just makes, when I see stuff like this, it just makes me all the more angry that our friend Shell Sweet isn't getting work, because she's so much better than this.
Yes.
So anyway, Comic Boys, we both give it a 4. We could even give it a 4.5 if it weren't for this damn extra cover. That cover's a 0 or a negative or something. I don't know. That's just terrible. Here's the art. This is, the homage page that they're talking about with him flipping around her. It says Ross Andru on that little box in the background. And I'll show you what they're actually homaging from in just a second. And we do like, which one is it here? That's the
Razor.
Yeah, that's snapping out of the cables.
Yep.
But this is the actual page that they were homaging from 1975.
Oh, there you go. Very nice.
So, yeah, really well done. Uh-oh. What do you mean, uh-oh, Joey?
Either that or he was singing like, oh, 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 oh,
Oh, that could be.
oh.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about it that way. But yeah, it's well done. Appreciated it. Uh, yep, that's all of our reviews then. So next week, we're going to do Cadam Comb of Torment, which came out this week. I just didn't have time to read it. Gotham by Gaslight, League for a League for Justice, which I didn't get a chance to read this week. Perhaps Chippy's Bad Bad Day, which I just got. Toxic Avenger was another book.
Oh, Joey said that back.
Well, everybody uses Photoshop, but that's the guy who's doing the Turtles book. He does it. He does it. He does the figures. Oh, let me go back real quick here. I'll show you what I mean. You see on that bottom left panel on the left page how her feet are over the border.
Right.
It doesn't look right in proportion to everything else, and that's because he's drawing her and the figures separately from the background and doing them in layers. And then you got to try and figure out how all the word balloons fit in. So it's like really tightening her down, crunching. Now, if this was done in animation, she would be much bigger, and her feet would be cut off at the bottom of the panel because you don't need to see it. You know she's tied up.
Right.
So, but you don't want to like cut her feet off in a comic book because that looks bad. That's why her feet are like that. So little things like that is like what he kind of has issues with, I think, at times with the book. But that's where that comes from. But, so that's what Joey was getting at too, I guess. So was this? Did I have that? Could you see that, or did I need to go back?
No, I saw it.
Okay. All right. But anyway, next week, Toxic Avenger was another one that we were supposed to get, but we couldn't get this week. But we found it later in the day, so he'll get that for next week. Absolute Martian Manhunter number 5 is supposed to be out next week, so we got that. We just interviewed Dan Evans this past Tuesday, and it just so happens that he had copies of Apollyon 20XX and Biofel Kolga at our local comic shop, so I went and got them at the local comic shop. We'll have those for review. Yusaki Yojimbo, the Plum Story, issue number 5. Vanishing Point, number 3. Again, here's another one. We were talking about this at the very beginning of the show where Chris was ranting about not being able to get the books we want. I didn't even know number 2 ever came out. So number 3 is supposed to be out, so I got to talk to my comic shop guy about getting me number 2 now. Maybe they have it in stock, but we'll see. Tell John to skip the Thundercats and Powerpuff Girls crossover.
Oh, I was planning on it.
Who thought that was a good idea?
Oh, Lordy. But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. And we'll also see what else we have that we can get caught up on. Chris has got a whole stack of books I sent him. He hasn't reviewed any of them yet.
Yes, I have to get to those.
But that's what's going on next week. And then tomorrow, we're going to review Crawl. The classic 1983 sci-fi fantasy film with Liam Neeson, Ken Marshall, Lysette Anthony, and Freddie Jones. And I'm trying to think. Hold on a second. I need to look this up real quick. Um,
Wasn't this the only movie Ken Marshall ever did?
no. Well, maybe it is the only movie he did. I don't know. He was a TV actor. But no, he was in a lot of movies before Crawl. Actually, he was in Tilt and The Skin and Marco Polo and Feds. So he was in quite a few things. But I remember him being more for theater work.
Yeah.
Because like he did a lot of California theater stuff. And I'm trying to remember. And he was also in Star Trek DS9.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, it looks like his the way he picked movies was, is nobody gonna see this movie? Is this gonna be like a low budget and nobody's gonna see this movie? I'll be in it.
Probably the same person who thought Elvira and Harley Quinn was a good idea. No, the thing is, people would actually would probably go for that because, hey, women, boobs.
Right? Hey, boobs sell everything.
Yeah. Powerpuff Girls don't have boobs. At least they shouldn't.
No.
Yeah,
Never.
it depends on which artist draws them as to whether they have boobs or not.
They should never, ever, ever have them.
Yeah. But yeah. Of course, if you have Thundercats, you get cheated by Chitara. But anyway, yeah, it is what it is, and but we look forward to talking about that movie. I know Chris wants it to be remade.
This is, I keep saying, this is one of the few movies that I like, the 80s classics that I feel would benefit from a remake.
Yeah, I don't know,
because it's a great story, it's a great concept. It was just limited by the limitations of the era, the special effects.
I guess, but I mean, today I'd almost be afraid to see what they would do to rewrite the script.
No, keep the script the same.
But that's just it. They never will. They'll always change it and make it worse.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Never fails.
So I don't know, but anyway, that's our show for tonight.
Oh, before we go,
I
was wondering, can I share something with you guys? It's like some Quoth the Raven bonus content.
All right.
There you go. All right.
If you can see on the wall behind me, I have a new piece of art on my wall. And it is from Toy Story That Time Forgot, which is a Disney Pixar TV special that I actually talked about on the show when we did our Christmas reviews. And
yeah,
yes, they probably would overkill on CGI. But Toy Story That Time Forgot premiered in 2014, and to promote it, they did a panel at Comic-Con. And so as promotional material, they got Mike Mignola to do a poster of Reptilis Maximus from Toy Story That Time Forgot. And I finally secured one.
That is badass.
And for those who don't know, that is his favorite, one of his favorite Disney characters or Pixar characters of all time.
which Lewis drew for me, in fact.
Yeah, that's what I was like. What, are you showing my picture or something back there? I'm like, no, but you're showing me Mignola. That makes sense. Hold on a second. Let me go ahead and put you up, and so people can see it better. There you go.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what it is. If Mignola draws it, it just looks cool.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yep.
So there you go. Some bonus content.
All right. I think mine's actually the one with the white frame around on the other wall, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you don't have to get it off the wall, dude.
I don't know how well y'all can see it.
Oh no, you can see it just fine.
Yeah. Fantastic piece.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. So, alrighty. So there's your bonus pieces for the night. You got to see a little old art by me and see some new art by Mignola, or actually old art, but still new for John. Anyway, contact me at Lewis.Brightraven at Facebook or at Lewis Brightrave 2 on the Horrible X channel. You can see more of my artwork at deviantart.com/Brightraven. You're watching Quoth the Raven, Lewis Brightraven exclusively on YouTube. If you want to see some of Chris's art, it's deviantart.com/fatboy73. If you have questions, suggestions of content you'd like us to try and review, if we can get a hold of it, Quoth the Raven LBR72 at gmail.com or LewisBrightraven at yahoo.com if I don't get a hold of you or don't respond through the Gmail, but usually I do. And if you want to reach Chris, it's ghthrowingstones at gmail.com or John at grayfigaro at hotmail.com. What is going on, however, on Saturday, Chris?
Saturday is going to be all about distribution. We're having an extensive distribution talk because of the chaos and the flux that's been going on since the demise of Diamond. And so we're going to have Phil Russer from Philbo Distribution on. And hopefully, I'm sorry, I can't remember. What's his name again? From
Milton Grebe.
Milton, yeah, from ICV2.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll probably, if Dave wants me, I can, and just tell me when to be there. I'll show up too. If you need me.
Oh,
there.
yes. I'm going to mention having you on too because you have extensive knowledge about that. So,
yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see me and Milton compare notes because, Milton's the one who's really the expert, not me.
Right. Well, he hasn't responded to me yet, so I don't know if you have a better way to reach out to him or not, but
not right now.
All right.
We'll see.
All right. Cool.
But
so anyway, yeah, that's what's going on Glasshouse Presents Throwing Stones on YouTube Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay. Well, let me know by tomorrow if you need me to be there on Saturday.
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty, and Joey's giving thumbs up for both those art pieces.
I agree, Joey.
So, thanks for stopping by. And we actually got everybody coming in at the last second because we got like 5 or 6 watchers now. How did that happen? But we appreciate you all for watching. And we'll be back tomorrow night at 8 for talking about Crawl. In the meantime, you guys have a great evening. We'll see you next time. Quoth the Raven. Nevermore.
Nevermore.